Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Raymond Yeung. Here are tonight's top stories. COVID deaths in Hong Kong remain high, with infections rising from yesterday. Fighting rages in Ukraine as peace talks with Russia continue. And the Hong Kong stock market rebounds after plunging sharply earlier in the week. Deaths from COVID in Hong Kong remain in triple digits as the city battles the fifth wave, and infections rose for the second straight day. Johanna Chan reports.
Hong Kong's daily COVID caseload climbed to 29,272. Roughly half were reported on the RAT platform and half from PCR tests.
Now we have about 30,000 cases a day because there will be some gatherings and also the mass-off activities. So we'll still request for such a stringent measures, especially for the outdoors like beach.
Over at Asia World Expo, 2 women aged 90 and 92 who felt unwell were rushed to North Lantau Hospital at 8 a.m. Both were resuscitated but died an hour later. They had chronic illnesses and were unvaccinated. The city recorded 217 new deaths and a backlog of 61, taking the tally in the fifth wave to 4,634. Meanwhile, some unvaccinated people who recovered from COVID complained of having difficulty getting documents for a 3-month exemption from jabs. This created problems for them in their daily life. They were told to get registered.
We appeal to members of the public to report if they are having the RAT, to report to the RAT platform so that they can get the documentations to facilitate them to present to the venues. For this RAT platform, any applicant will have a automatic generated the isolation orders. They can present these orders to those venues having the vaccine pass restrictions.
Choi added that patients who are positive will receive isolation orders via SMS. Johanna Chan, HKIBC.
The government has confirmed that public beaches will be closed from tomorrow. This came as the chief executive said the fifth COVID wave has reached a plateau. Chloe Feng reports.
A total of 184,390 positive cases determined by self-administered tests between February the 26th and March the 5th were reported to the RAT reporting platform that was officially launched last Monday. But the figure was only disclosed today, although health officials have included positive results from rapid antigen tests in their daily COVID numbers since last Tuesday. At the chief executive's daily COVID briefing today, Center for Health Protection Controller Edwin Choi said positive cases on the RAT online reporting system now hover at around 30,000 per day. Carrie Lam said reported infections peaked on March the 3rd, with the fifth wave reaching a plateau last Friday. But she cautioned against complacency.
But judging from the high numbers that we have seen, it will not be a surprise that there are still a lot of silent transmissions in society. And if people now become a bit relaxed and they go out more often and they have gatherings and so on, then this transmission will continue.
In a bid to reduce crowds, government-managed beaches will be closed from tomorrow. The chief executive said the move is to safeguard public safety, as many beachgoers didn't wear masks. But there are no plans to further tighten anti-COVID rules. Lam also said Guangdong will continue to send supplies, including coffins, to Hong Kong.
They would try very hard to ensure the smooth arrival of cargo, especially fresh produce and vegetables that will support the people of Hong Kong. We will continue to cooperate fully with the mainland authorities to take the necessary measures to protect the safety and the health of people on both sides.
Lam admitted that lockdowns have delayed the delivery of medical supplies from the mainland. Chloe Fong, HKIBC.
The number of locally transmitted COVID cases on the mainland yesterday dropped to 1,860, nearly half of Monday's figure. Most of the new infections were in Jilin province, which accounted for almost 1,500. It was the fourth day in a row that the northern province had over 1,000 cases. Shandong had 75 infections, while Guangdong and Tianjin recorded over 50 each. Authorities say the fight against the nation's worst outbreak in more than 2 years has entered a critical stage. In the day's other news, the Lands Department has been told to do more to clamp down on suspicious practices involving the small house policy in the new territories. This came as 2 men appeared in court accused of defrauding the government. Johanna Pohl reports.
Shepparton Rural Committee member Ching Chen Ming, aged 65, and 72-year-old Wong Kwong Wing, the principal of Wing Smart Construction, were accused by the ICAC of defrauding the Lands Department. Ching bought small house concessionary rights from indigenous villagers in Shuiqiu Sanchun between 1996 and 2005 and built homes. In 2005, Ching collaborated with Wong, and they allegedly made an average of $13 million from each house. The ICAC said Wong gained over $1 billion from more than 100 small houses. The 2 men are accused of deceiving the Lands Department by allegedly claiming that they were the legal title holders, and that there were no agreement to transfer the land and rights or any intention to sell it to others. Eastern Magistracy granted them bail today and adjourned the case to July. A member of a group that researches the development of Hong Kong said responsibility for suspicious cases should not lie only on developers and villagers.
In the past, the Lands Department had been very lax in approving this kind of suspicious or suspected illegal sales of small house rights. And it might be inviting a lot more people to do the same. That's why we have been seeing a lot of small house villas popping up all over new territories in these few years, while we are facing an acute shortage of land in the new town area. And it's obviously a very uneven and unequal distribution of land resource among Hong Kong people.
Every adult male indigenous villager can build a 3-story house to live in, but cannot sell or transfer the title. Joanna Ho, HKIBC.
Overseas, negotiations between Russia and Ukraine have continued 3 weeks after Moscow invaded its neighbor. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, meanwhile, stepped up his appeal for international help as he greeted leaders of friendly countries. Winner Wong reports.
Residents in Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, woke up to buildings in smoke and sirens blaring as the war with Russia dragged on into day 21. Apartment buildings, including this 12-story structure, have become Russian targets. The invading force has reportedly used long-range fire to hit civilian targets, but struggled to make progress on its advance to Kyiv. Ukraine's second-largest city, Kharkiv, has also been suffering from a similar fate. At least 2 people were killed in overnight attacks, while 2 residential buildings were destroyed. In a late-night address, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed talks with Moscow had continued on Tuesday. However, his aide Mikhailo Podolyak revealed there were fundamental contradictions, and there was room for compromise. Zelensky had earlier told European leaders that he realizes NATO has no intention of accepting Ukraine, a statement that seemed to signal potential grounds for agreement with Moscow. The Ukrainian leader has been busy on his diplomacy mission. Earlier, he met the prime ministers of Poland, the Czech Republic, and Slovenia, who had made a risky train journey to the embattled capital city. Zelensky also addressed Canadian lawmakers yesterday and is scheduled to appear virtually before the U.S. Congress later today. Winnie Wong, HKIBC.
There's been a massive protest in Colombo, capital of Sri Lanka, as the country struggles with its worst economic crisis in living memory. Opposition leaders led tens of thousands of people through the streets to demand the government's resignation. They accused ministers of mismanaging the economy and triggering sharp price increases for food and other essential items. The economic woes were worsened by COVID, which crippled the island nation's tourism industry. Hong Kong stocks have ended 3 days of pain. The Hang Seng Index skyrocketed today, with tech titans ending the day sharply higher. Chloe Fong reports.
There was good news at last for Hong Kong investors as the local stock market rebounded after plunging in the previous 3 sessions to a 6-year low. The Hang Seng Index jumped 9% to soar past the psychological level of 20,000 points, in its best performance since 2008. The recovery came after Vice Premier Liu He pledged to roll out supporting measures to stabilize the mainland economy and to bolster its capital markets. His announcement was music to the ears of jittery investors.
There was a very positive news from mainland China. The government is refocusing on steadying the economy. It is controlling risk in the property sector, also trying to negotiate and promote healthy development growth in the internet platforms. So I think all in all, people are taking very positive hints from this news release. I think today's very strong rebound surprised everybody. It is a very typical short covering rally.
The Hang Seng Tech Index, which was previously the hardest hit because of regulatory concerns, rallied 22% for its biggest daily gain. While Bilibili led the rally by jumping more than 40% increase. JD.com and Meituan both saw gains of over 30%. Alibaba and Tencent also closed sharply higher. Chloe Fong, HKIBC.
Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng jumped by 1,600 points today. To the top 10 active stocks, Tencent picked up $69. The tracker fund was up by $1.59, while Meituan was up by $34. Hong Kong exchanges also shot up by $38, while Kuaishou Technology was up by $19.45. To the forex trading against the Hong Kong dollar, the euro's at 8.61, the pound sterling at 10.24, while the Australian dollar at 5.67. Finally, in Europe, the London FTSE is currently up by 97 points. On to the weather now. Have your umbrellas handy as tomorrow will be mainly cloudy with a few showers. Temperatures will range between 21 and 27 degrees. Sunny intervals on Friday and Saturday before more showers next week. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Wednesday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Raymond Yeung. Thanks for watching. Good night.